You're watching news that gets to the point on KATC-TV3.
A new leader for Kaplan will introduce you to Linda Hardy this evening.
Weak frontal boundaries in the near term, but where's the rain? We'll talk more.
And this man is reaching out to Louisiana dairy farmers.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for choosing Acadiana's News Channel at 6. Well, voters went to the polls across Acadiana this weekend, making some important decisions. In Kaplan, they chose a familiar face to lead them, Councilmember Linda Hardy.
Well, I got to meet Mrs. Hardy today. Here's what the mayor-elect had to say.
Months after Katrina, the Postal Service began processing mail today in New Orleans. Before this week, a letter mailed from one side of the city to another was stuck in delivery for at least a week. Before the storm, the Postal Service processed 6 to 8 million pieces of mail every day. There is still a ban, though, on certain kinds of mail, including magazines, newspapers, and catalogs.
And one of New Orleans' favorite sons, Fats Domino, was honored Saturday, inducted into the Delta Music Museum's Hall of Fame. The piano legend didn't make the trip from Harvey to Faraday, saying he didn't feel up to the 150-mile trip, but he says he still plans to be on stage at the Jazz and Heritage Festival later this month.
Devastation across the Midwest. 8 states are in recovery mode after killer storms strike.
And it's a familiar face. Scientists in Egypt are working to restore an international icon to its former glory. Stay with us as we take you around the world next.
This many centuries later, they would know how to patch up the poor old Sphinx without causing more cracks.
Well, you know, I think that there are still wonders of the world, including the Sphinx. And are you beginning to wonder, when we moved our clocks up this weekend, did we go too far?
That's a good question. With temperatures in the 80s, I wonder if we sprang into summer. Rob's True View forecast for where you live, coming up next.
Good. Highs in the 70s. Comfortable humidity there.
I always thought humidity was a nice way of saying yuck.
It's good for our skin, though. We were talking about that a little bit early. It's good for the skin.
Well, then bring it on. I need all the help I can get.
She was just talking about that, Rob. So
exactly.
You're the doctor. That's the prescription. Get out in the humidity. Suck it up.
I'll do it. Then coming up on Acadiana's News Channel at 6.
At 6:20, the Tools for Schools team makes a world of difference to a middle school classroom.
But first, here's a look.
We go around the world in news, and this week our Tools for Schools team is helping students find out where in the world they are. Leslie Angel's class at Karen Crow Middle will be spanning the globe and poring over maps thanks to a world-class Tools for Schools delivery. We get that story through the camera lens of KATC videographer Brendan Shackelford.
I'm Ebony Eaglin at Karen Crow. 3.
You're quite welcome. We're always glad to help.
And if you know a teacher or a class or even an entire school that needs a helping hand, just visit KATC.com, click on that Tools for Schools icon.
A Safe Families reminder tonight. Today is April 3rd, the day we remind you and the women in your life to perform your monthly breast self-exam. Call 2 friends or family members and please remind them as well. Early detection is the key to fighting breast cancer and saving lives. We will continue to remind you on the 3rd of each month. It's part of our 3 Against Breast Cancer campaign. It's just another part of KATC's continuing effort to keep you and your family safe. Well, LSU's performance in the Big Dance, a final look at the Final Four next.
Or 10.
Thank you, Rob. We invite you to join us for Acadiana's News Channel at 10. Until then, everybody, make it a good evening. Year since 2003 by Slidell Representative Pete Schneider, who admits it probably will fail again.
We'll wait and see.
Yeah.
And still to come on KATC, controversy is brewing over previews for an upcoming movie based on one of the ill-fated 9/11 flights. We're going to have more at 5:13.
And it's a metal manufacturing company, but employees are routinely sawing logs. We'll explain that at 5:29.
Coming up at 6 and 10.
Okay, Rob.
On a more pleasant note, today was beautiful.
It was, yes.
So thanks for that. KATC's Tracy Wirtz is in the newsroom with a look at our 6 o'clock report. Tracy.
Thanks, Julie. Coming up, teens and prescription drugs. It's a dangerous combination. At 6, we'll have a live preview of an eye-opening event. Also coming up, a Safe Families alert for parents about a child toy with a potentially fatal flaw. Plus, a positive story about a pit bull. This one's a surrogate mother to an unlikely litter. Those stories and more news that gets to the point. That coming up at 6 o'clock. Back to you guys.
Okay, Tracy, and we'll see you then. Well, it's been a busy season for school tours here at KATC.
It sure has. Today, pre-K students from Washington Elementary toured the weather lab.
Now, I was wondering who flipped the whatchamacallit switch on my thingamajiggy thing.
Well, I'm told one of the students claimed to actually have a newsroom at his house, which I guess means KATC has a Washington bureau.
And we'll be waiting for some reports from Washington.
Washington, that's District of Catawba, D.C. Yeah. There you go.
Well, coming up on KATC.
Minutes with the latest news, weather, and sports. ABC World News Tonight is next.
You're watching news that gets to the point on KATC-TV3.
The Corps of Engineers admits it had a hand in New Orleans' devastating floods.
It stays windy with a slight chance of storms tomorrow. We'll have the latest.
And police say a 92-year-old had to be subdued with a taser.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for choosing Acadiana's News Channel at 6.
Could Vermilionville and the horse farm swap owners? Well, city officials tell TV3 they're looking into that possibility. KATC's Marcel Fontenot has been looking into it and joins us live from Vermilionville. Marcel, could this really happen?
Well, Tracy, City Parish President Joey Durrell says nothing official has been decided. He says he approached the Bayou Vermilion District about the possible swap of the horse farm for Vermilionville and Vermilionville for the horse farm. Durrell says no formal request has been made yet. He says the horse farm. The city owns the property that Vermilionville sits on, and the Bayou Vermilion District owns the structures that sit on top of that property. So all three have to be a part of this swap if it indeed does take place, but nothing official has been decided yet. So we will keep an eye on this one and let you know what happens. Live in Lafayette at Vermilionville, Marcel Fontenot, KATC-TV3, Acadiana's News Channel.
And now, here's your Storm Team 3 24-hour forecast.
Windy out there, as you can tell with Marcel's live shot, and it looks like more wind in the future. Your 24-hour.
Rob, we'll see you later. Lafayette High School's principal hopes he can change rules at the Louisiana High School Athletic Association. He wants the organization to weaken some requirements for coaches. KATC's David Dawkins live in the KATC newsroom with more. David?
Hoyt, as most people know by now, the Lafayette High soccer team had to forfeit their final game in the playoffs because one of their coaches was deemed ineligible. The coach was a general study majors at UF. Proposal prepared. He'll have to submit it to the LHSAA. Board members would have to vote on Leonard's recommendation. We'll keep you posted on this story, and if any more developments come available, we'll let you know. Back to you.
Thanks, Dave. We'll look forward to it. Diane Alexander, the woman who says she survived an alleged attack by serial killer Derek Todd Lee, is prepared to take on Crime Stoppers in court.